We are live.
Live, number 53. The beat goes on.
Yes, yes. Apologies. We are late. It's all actually on my side.
Yeah,
Um, I had a few challenges with my setup, but
okay.
here we are now. Yeah,
But you are
here we
here.
are.
Mm. So,
You mean?
how's they, they call it Chigali? How is Kigali? How do they pronounce it there?
Chigali. Yeah, they pronounce
Oh,
it
yeah.
as Chigali.
How are
Yeah.
the Chantels and the Chantals and the. But by the way, are those ladies as beautiful as we see online? Ama kwa ground mambo ni tofauti kidogo. Tallying center kwa huko chini hesabu is mbadala,
As they say, the beauty is in the eyes of the beholder.
not the beer
So,
holder.
not the beer holder. So I'm sure you come here and get smitten, and
Yeah. You
uh,
forget everything.
it's
You even forget what brought you there.
yes, bro. I think they're within your spec.
Hmm.
They're within your spec. So I think you'll be pleasantly um, surprised. Should I say surprised or the
Do they
expectation?
can they easily induce your kinudia?
Oh yeah, they can.
Hmm.
They
So you need to invest in a bigger leash to control your kinudia.
yes, you need to control yourself in every way.
Hmm.
Otherwise, your Kinudia dome here, you'll be living
Hmm.
within the Kinudia dome 24/7.
Well,
But yeah, they're beautiful women. They are beautiful women.
hmm. It's you
They
can
do
say
live.
it's more than the offering we have back at home.
Yes, I
Yes.
would say.
Okay. So we
I
need to
would say. Not
before
so-
I bought
the other thing.
before I bought.
The other thing with Kenya is the diversity.
Yeah.
How many tribes we have? We've got 42 tribes. So um, you know, you could easily get the same amount if you go to your Taita Tavetas, you know. Even some of these ladies from the mountain, some of them are definitely quite beautiful. Ladies even from my own backyard, bro. Eh?
I think at the end of the day, uh,
Yes.
it's about, I call it your hunger level. You see,
Uh-huh.
when you are very hungry, you'll feed on anything.
Yes.
So if you are mentally or you're operating on a mentality of emotional or psychological poverty,
Yeah.
you'll find everything beautiful. It's like somebody who has
Yes.
been jailed for 5 years. Then you expose a group of housemaids. You'll see those housemaids as hallelujah. I'm in heaven.
It reminds me of a story from a friend. He used to
Mm,
work outside the country. Let me not name the country
mm,
because I don't want to throw shade on some of our good African countries. But he used to tell me he knew he was due to go home
mm,
when he started finding the local women beautiful.
mm.
There was on some posting somewhere on some country, and the women there said, beautiful. But as you say, when that anger now
Mm,
gets to some crazy levels, then now anything goes, bro.
Hunger, hunger. A hungry man will
And,
feed. He will feed on scraps.
yeah, it's
So
like the same way
you
when you go to a restaurant and you're like, hey, what are you gonna eat? If you're
mm,
not hungry
mm,
and you're living a fairly comfortable life, then you're
mm,
actually spoiled for choice. Then you're like, hey
mm,
man, what would I take today? Do I do steak today? Do I do fish? Do I
mm,
do pasta? Do I do, some Chinese?
mm,
Whatever it might be,
mm.
then it becomes now up to you to choose. But when you're hungry, anything, bro, man,
Anything
you're
goes. So it's about how you fashion your mind and operating on the mentality as the way Americ says you are the prize. In that, even them with their beauty and whatnot, it is you who has more to offer
yeah, that's true.
because you are
That's
offering
true.
your money, you are offering your resources, and in return, the very most you can get is a wet crack. And when it comes
That's
to
what.
sex, both of you will enjoy.
Yeah,
So
actually, you probably have more because y- you might end up probably giving us something,
yeah,
and she'll
mm,
also enjoy the sex.
yes. So some of this, I think, this is part of what the Matrix wants us to believe that uh, what you are pursuing is something very big and marvelous. And I guess the media is also uh, contributing that it is the okay. I don't know. You have to chase and whatnot, and they have to be chased, and you have to spend your resources to get whatever it is you're pursuing. That is why we have what we call post-nating clarity, where you ask yourself, like, so what was I looking for?
Yeah,
Your
and
pockets are lighter, the return on investment is practically non-existent, you're tired, you're worn out, and and if it is somebody you have no plan of getting children with, you've literally wasted yourself. And it's a cycle that you can find yourself in, weekend out, Naivasha, whatnot, Diani. I know people who, someone's telling me that he takes, somebody will take someone to Diani in order to hit the pussy. And it's like, you can hit pussy locally. What is it that is making you? It's not like you are poor. No, it's not like you are broke. But then again, I think a day will come when you look back and say this money could have done something else. Unless already you're at billionaire status, that one we cannot really argue because for starters, somebody who's a billionaire, he's way ahead of me. I cannot uh, try to correct him in any way. He's worth billions. But ordinary people like us, you'll say, what if you're blowing 50,000 shillings every week? That's 200K a month. 200K per month in a year, that's 2.4 mics. That is money that can be sunk into something worthwhile if you look at it, if you are still climbing that ladder. But if you're a billionaire, more power to you. You know about money more than me. But if you're still on the grind and you can blow 50K every month in pursuit of pussy, I think that's a waste.
yeah, it reminds me of one night we went out with a friend and we invited some girls, and you can imagine all the expensive drinks, man. We bought bottles of whiskey and all this champagne, all these things, bro. And for us, we were just taking. Okay, we took a bit of the whiskey, but not so much. All those bottles are the women taking it.
Hmm.
Mm. We were just, if we were to look at our expenses on that table, even though we
Hmm.
were the ones sponsoring the entire bill,
Hmm.
uh, our own consumption was far much cheaper.
Hmm.
Because it's probably a beer or two. Expensive bottles were all for the women, and they'll
Oh,
come
what
there.
the women were getting
They
the.
won't even, they won't even spend a single cent.
Wow. I hope the pussy was worth it. Because you blow all that money, then
Yeah,
then
man.
you go and come in 2 minutes. You'd really curse yourself. Mm. So
Yeah.
those are one of the constituents of the matrix. The matrix does not want you to self-improve. It's like like a well-oiled machine that's designed to put you down, including things like the I call it the impending disaster on 14th February that is called Valentine's Day, which is basically a
Mhm.
commercial affair. It's a
It
system. The
is.
hotels, the resorts, the restaurants, nini kila kitu, flower sellers, gift shops. Is there will be what I call knowingly or unknowingly working together to get that extra shilling out of your pocket. Then
Yeah.
15th February, when you realize, what was all this, bro?
Mhm.
It's an ecosystem. It's a commercial
It,
ecosystem that is meant to simply take advantage of your Kinuthianness. It's called working together by instinct, not even by plan. The restaurants are there, the resorts are there, the gift shops are there. Any business,
hotels.
everything is
Yes.
by. Yeah, clubs,
Uh-huh.
name it, red, red, red everywhere. And the issue
Already.
is to get that extra coin. I'm sure even organizations with good financial planners are expecting a spike every 14th of February. They have to sort of make preparation and extra buy so that that extra coin comes in. It's a system. And do you think you are
Yeah.
expressing your love? They are simply, it's an extra pipe out of the many pipes that are dipped into your produce, an extra temporary pipe that to suck that extra shilling from your pocket. So it's good that some of us know it, but
Rather the best is to align yourself to a point where you be part of that gravy train of
mhm,
money.
mm.
Provide a service that will take advantage of the Canadians as they spend their money.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you can be on the other side also because it's not a crime. We are not mugging people.
Mm.
We're not mugging people. You are engaged in a business that is taking advantage of people. Like uh, if somebody has a problem of peeing in his shorts every time, you can make money from washing them. If you're getting
Mm.
5,000 shillings from washing somebody's shorts because he has peed on himself, you'll be happy if he pees every day. So you're not
Mm.
robbing him. So it's all about you as an individual deciding how far away from the matrix are you going to be. You see, I don't think you can. Okay, you can. I don't think you can. Maybe from my position, it's all about getting as far away from the matrix as possible. Because if we think critically, things like the
Mhm.
fact that we are communicating using servers that are outside this continent, to some extent, that is the matrix. A click of a button, they can cut us off. One
Yeah.
decision, somebody can look at these channels. These guys are trying to enlighten people. Snap it off. So it's all about trying to be as far as possible for the matrix.
Yeah, man.
Mm.
What's that book called about the Matrix? It's from this guy, Cooper. I think Cooper something.
Hmm?
What's his name? This blogger guy.
Oh, Nani Cooper. This guy, his channel is called Car Entrepreneur.
Unplugging from the Matrix. Yes, he also does kind of. He has yeah. I know. So
Mm,
it's and I like actually his approach in terms of how he does content. Huh? So
mm,
sort of incorporating your passions into
mm,
how you curate and deliver your content. So you would do some of his submissions inside a car.
mm-hmm,
Um, he's now been able to build a community where I think he organizes for men, looking to improve on themselves where they can meet, sort of engage in all manner of outdoorsy kind of sports. It's all about, sort of developing yourself mentally and also physically, being in a brotherhood. Um, and I guess it's all his passions, being out in the outdoors. He's a car guy, he's a petrol head. And actually talking about Petrohead, what's the big news about Mr. Lewis Hamilton?
Yeah, he's moving to Mercedes in end of this season. I was shocked,
Hmm.
man, because I've always associated Hamilton with Mercedes. In fact, when the CEO Toto Wolff was shared that news to Hamilton's race engineer Peter Bonington,
Hmm.
the guy
Hmm.
reacted, "Is it April Fools?" So no, it's not April Fools. This guy is leaving. He had a 2-year contract ending in 2026, but
Oh,
he
mhm.
executed what we call some sort of a, it's called a pool of clause. There's a clause where you can execute and you leave. And you know, most people would say ending
Mhm.
your career in Ferrari is like most drivers' dream. Because do you
Mhm.
know that Ferrari have never won a championship since 2007? Yet, in the every season, they are the ones who receive the biggest lot of the prize money
Oh,
since
okay. How
since
does that work
2007.
out?
Well, they say
Was that
that
due to Michael Schumacher's age?
no, they say that F1 needs Ferrari more than Ferrari needs F1. Yeah, since
Yes.
uh, since 2007, the last time they won a championship, World Drivers' Championship, was by Kimi Raikkonen, and since then they've won nothing apart from wins, sporadic wins here and there. But championships, no. But every year, when it comes to the Formula One prize money at the end of the season, they take the biggest
Yes.
chunk by virtue of just being Ferrari. That's how F1 works
And
for you.
who has the most superior cars?
Currently, the number one, the team with the best car since 2022 has been Red Bull. The
Mm.
2022 and 2023 challenger have been Red Bull. You see, in 2022, they came
Mhm.
up with this design of vehicle called ground effect cars, a certain design of a vehicle, and they happen to have a certain designer, we call him aerodynamist, called Adrian Newey. Now, these
Mhm.
ground effect cars were there long time ago, then they were put out of commission. Now they were brought back in 2022, and he was the master of that stuff. The 2022 car and 2023 cars were unbeatable. No one could. That vehicle finishes, you find that the next, it's number one, the next vehicle is 20 seconds behind. You can imagine the situation. So let's wait and see how things will be. But this will be Hamilton's final season in F1 before he goes
Mhm.
to Ferrari.
Yeah,
The
he's
rest,
he has up to 2025
he's finishing this year.
this year. Yeah,
And then 2025, he joins Ferrari.
yeah. Let me even
Interesting
share
stuff.
the. Wow. So are you looking forward to him making the move?
He has made the move. So mine is just to watch, and my fantasy is for him to win the drivers'
Yeah,
championship with Mercedes in his final season. That will be a hallelujah moment for me.
yeah. I can see here they're saying Lewis Hamilton moved to Ferrari for Mercedes is a gamble, but it could be a master stroke.
Mm,
Uh, let's see. Time will
mm,
tell.
mm.
Time will tell. Wow. So when does it starts around media? Is it?
No, March.
When does it see? March?
March.
Oh, okay.
Mm, mm.
Really just at
February
the end
is where
of
we have the launching, where all the vehicles normally launch their vehicle. All teams launch their vehicles by February.
Mhm.
Then we go to testing in Bahrain or Barcelona. Then after that, We go to the. I've not checked the calendar, but I think first race will be in Australia, or I don't know. But uh, this season, I just hope that Hamilton wins the championship, leaves Mercedes as championship, then goes to Ferrari, and you see what happens. I hope it doesn't end up like Sebastian Vettel. But anyway,
Mm.
I normally say my job in F1 is just to watch. I don't want to give myself.
Enjoy the moment.
Yes, yes, man.
Yeah, but is he your favorite driver?
Definitely,
Mm.
definitely. In fact, I'm considering that the moment he retires, I don't know who I'll be watching because,
I think that's the thing with change, eh? Because sometimes you may have lived through the era of someone, eh? And I know this has happened even in life. Sometimes when you even have a good leader, could be wherever at work, whatever environment it might be, and then you're like, wow, it's been a good leader, or it's been a great
maybe
sports athlete.
maybe when he retires, I'll go
Hmm.
back to supporting Mercedes. But I've always been supporting Mercedes because of Hamilton. In fact, there was a race where on the first lap he crashed out. I didn't
Oh,
even bother watching the rest of the race. Lap one, he had an incident, he bungled it out, and I was just like, yes,
turned off the TV and no more watching this.
why am I watching this
It's
shit now?
too much to watch.
Hmm. A waste of time. I don't
Yeah,
know. Maybe somebody will come who will pick my interest, but this is the guy I've always watched for. So I remember
I think he's a
there
favorite
was this.
for many. Yeah,
Huh?
he's a favorite for many.
Yes, he's a
For
favorite for
many
many, and
people.
he's also hated by many more.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it comes with the
So
territory.
the buzzword in Kenya so far has been, what is this? Femicide. We keep on coming up with the new terminologies. Femicide. But
Yeah, and there was actually quite an interesting. I saw a video from Sabina. This lady, what's her name? An MP,
mhm,
and I think that was the most um, sober take on the situation, because yes, as much as we condemn the killings and they should be condemned, I think there's a place to also, you know, talk of the responsibility these women have, for somebody to put himself in harm's way, where you just meet a stranger
mm,
very carelessly,
mhm,
without taking any kind of consideration to your own safety, leads to this.
mhm,
And the whole idea of greed for money, and because as take was, you know um, the protest that we saw in downtown Nairobi should have actually, she felt, a complete waste of time, and I totally agree with her, because she said that focus should have been directed to, universities and colleges, because a bulk of these, girls are typically of that age. They are, college going uh, adult women, um, young adults, to put it more precisely, that get lured into this kind of a world, mostly, into money, easy money, from so-called Nigerian men. And this is not, to shed all Nigerian men, but it's been noted. They say Kenyan men are cheap. But now you see what happens, with that easy money. That easy money takes them down that dangerous route that could, spell a loss of life or something much more heinous. And we've seen the most depraved of scenarios where somebody was decapitated, completely cut into. I mean, I can't imagine that level of depravity, for somebody to go to those levels. So Um, the take is the deaths and those that perpetuated definitely highly condemned. Nothing justifies that. But on the same token, we don't live in a utopian world. Evil is all around us, and it's important for people to exercise a level of responsibility and accountability, and not put themselves um, in harm's length, in harm's way. Yeah. So I'll try and pull up, and maybe you can give your own take on this so-called femicide. It is homicide, any kind of murder.
Yeah,
Uh, it's homicide. Uh, it might be seen to spotlight on women, uh, but I think if you might even do the statistics, you might find it hits on men more.
you
And
see,
this is not to put a comparison. Death is death. Human life is human value, regardless of the gender, the race. Um, but we've seen now some of these narratives are created to push a particular agenda. Yeah. So to sort of be more sober sided, and put more level headed kind of a take. That's what I'm saying. Every human life has got value. Every death highly condemned, regardless of the circumstance. But on the same token, the evil that lurks all around us requires that one be more prudent and responsible and accountable, and evaluate the situations that they put themselves in.
I think, I think this is just this looks to me like just another matrix thing, because matrix is all about misdirection. Because you are having demonstrations about women who got murdered. So I don't know about others, but some of them were in the business of peddling flesh. We've
Mm,
had people dying in accidents. Why can't we have demonstration against the NTSA or whatever relevant arm of the government to clamp
mhm,
down on accidents? We've
mhm,
had our Kenyan drivers getting butchered in southern Sudan. There were cases where
mhm,
drivers were getting killed. Why were there no demonstrations outside the Sudanese embassy by
mhm,
Kenyans to demonstrate against why our drivers are getting killed, even to a point of Kenyans demonstrating about against truck companies to stop going into southern Sudan, just park their vehicles at the border, offload
mm,
the material, and then Sudanese to transport their own. So we didn't hear any kind of agitation for men or Kenyans
mhm,
who died in the line of engaging in noble activities.
mm,
But someone gets themselves chopped up because of going to meet a stranger. Well, it really points out this just misdirection of all things.
mm,
And
mm,
you see that demonstration and organizing that thing, that needs money.
mhm,
This is- Who's paying? These are some of the things that what we call them financial forensic detectives should be looking at.
mm,
Who is sponsoring these activities, and where is that money being channeled for, and what is the cover? Because there has to be a cover for that money.
mm,
Some of these activities, some of these demonstrate because you have to buy T-shirts, you have to do things, you have to pay people. All that logistics, ferrying people needs money.
mm.
So why are
They're paid.
you?
It's a
Uh,
job for some people, eh? And even
so
to protesters is a paid job. Eh? You
you're
can
paid the
round up
job.
a few
Hmm?
from Kibera, give them
Hmm.
placards, and tell
Yes.
them we're gonna give you 500 bob each. So just hold
Mhm.
this placard, make you noise, nini nini, all that.
Hmm. So this is an indication that we are falling prey to misdirection, And I took it with
mm,
a pinch of, in fact, I took it as a joke. Why, you mean some deaths are more, uh, some lives are more important than others? How come I've never
mm,
heard of a demonstration when a police officer is killed in the line of duty? We've had times when police officers responding to distress end up getting killed. We had the incident in Baragoi where over 40 officers, the biggest loss of security officers at a go. Not even it, Nairobi was business as usual. Where was this
mm,
money? Where are these so-called human rights crusaders? I'm made to believe those police officers are humans. Those are not drones. Those are humans.
mm.
How come there was no demonstration against that for Kenya government to safeguard the the, the welfare of our security forces? Things like police officers should always be in bulletproof vests. What no police officers should have insurance, should have welfare. Those are I'm here to see such kind of a demonstration. But now, because a flesh peddler got his head chopped off, oh man, we are. That is the one place I really hoped for tear gas. Unfortunately, no tear gas came by. It's very unfortunate. So, for a country that has a lot of problems, a country that is yet to book a place in the global table of relevance, I find this to be just misdirection. Because if you look at the amount of money that is, if I'm sure if you go to statistics and look at uh, millions of dollars spent in fighting GBV, I'm sure you'll get some astounding figures. But
It's
when
a
you say
business.
it's a business,
Business.
but when you say uh, how much are we funding research into building our own vehicles so that we can stem down the aspect of importing? Because even if you are importing second-hand vehicles, they are imported in dollars. It's in
And
dollars.
even thinking about it now, actually, since this some of these new terminologies came into the fore, be it
Mm.
the GBV, the femicides, and also taking that correlation in terms of the number of organizations that are sort of have the mandate
Mm.
to push against this.
Mm.
It seems to then work sort of counterintuitively in the sense that the cases seems to increase more than reduce,
Yeah, the
because
number
you
of
you would there are more sort of NGOs and other organizations that uh, are working towards these programs and initiatives that we should be seeing a decrease. But why is it that the inverse is then happening? Something we need to query this. Either the approaches is wrong or something else is totally
there's
amiss.
it looks to me like a money laundering scheme.
Mm,
It's money because that like somebody's. I had someone calling an NGO. NGO means nothing going on apart from siphoning money.
mm,
That is why you find people living in Kilelesho or whatnot, driving big vehicles. But if you ask them, there's a name that we give for these NGO groups. I forget it. They have their own NGO council or whatnot. Their impact is practically zero because if you are going
mm,
to talk of welfare, taking care of, okay, doing good, you look for the most important thing. The most important thing is I would be very okay if there's an organization whose concern is pushing for activities that reduce dollar reliance, research and development, going into seeing what can we manufacture on our own, pushing for bills that will sort of increase tax on import products, but reduce tax on ingredients or assembly components. That I'll agree with. So that it is very expensive to import a fully loaded Toyota. But if you bring that Toyota in component form, engine, candle, nini, suspension, whatnot, and you put it in a production line and assemble it, it becomes even 30% cheaper. Now that we are talking. But some of these things that I'm seeing, they're just made to strengthen our status as a begging bowl republic. Maybe you can play what Madam Sabina was saying.
I found our comments just to give a bit of a preface to our submission, to be very sober. And it's good that it came from a woman
Mm.
because, again, if it comes from a man, it's
Will be
seen
war.
in another. Yes. Uh, and, I think we know that people do have a very funny relationship with the truth and accountability. But she was spot on her assessment of this so-called femicide issue. Um, yes. So let me hit play, and then we can get to debate on that.
Mm.
You only get the people who are aware of what they are doing. But if this was organized in universities, in the colleges, where they have hostels, or like somewhere like University of Nairobi, they would have gone and called elders and created a knock impact. They're just going to the streets. Because once you go to the streets, yes, you do it for the media and everything else, but you don't really communicate much. The best way is to interact with those girls. Let's start mentorship programs where they can be able to talk to. There are girls who are still in hostels, who are traumatized, who have gone through that experience, they don't know who to talk to. But if you give them a chance where they can have even forums, where they can have people come to talk to them, have counseling centers where they can go openly discuss what they go through in college and maybe why they are led to such situations. So the most important is not just a match, but to have forums where we can be able to counsel them.
What can be done to reduce these cases?
Counseling, mentorship, and girls accepting that you cannot start from top. What comes easy goes easy. So girls need to know how to work hard and not just looking at money, because when money comes in, you'll have to pay for it. Whichever amount comes in, there's no free money in this world. There's nothing that is for free. The only thing for free is air, and it's given by God. So if you want free rides, you want free money, you'll have to pay for it finally. So the best thing is for you that you must work hard. Wake up, you can school your school, go, you can expect money.
It's buffer.
And then you get it for free. It will not happen.
Okay, as a woman in leadership, how best can you help fight this?
As I'd mentioned, is reach out to these girls, go to colleges, talk to them. We need to start having talks. We need to start having forums where we can even have a session where people can be able to speak. Currently, I'm holding something called Generation G that we normally meet on Saturday afternoons, but on a chat setup where we allow the young people to ask me as many questions as they can. So that then if somebody has a question, I'm able to answer them, able to interact with them. Even some of us as leaders, we're too far away from these young people. They need to feel us, they need to touch us, they need to hear our stories, because sometimes they see us, they think we started from up there. We started from very far for us to get where we are today.
Great. I think that's it. Yeah. So so
Uh,
so
so
what's your take about our feedback on that?
it sounds very hmm, camera friendly. Sounds very positive.
Yeah.
But to be realistic, if you drive in with a Range Rover into KU, utakosa kutoka na mrembo kweli?
Utabeba wengi, hata watu si mmoja.
Yeah, some of them will have to be fitted on the boot.
I do get some bit of education and sensitization about taking that free ride in a Range Rover in some
You
luxury
think they don't know?
SUV.
These are the same people who tell you, I'd rather cry in a Range Rover than laugh in a bicycle. And before you talk of students What about those who are above the students, our ladies in the working class? There's, everything happens at a level. In university, it's money. Then we also have sex. See those sex for marks. You remember this scandal some time back?
Yeah, that. Yeah.
There's sex for marks. There's sex for positions. There is sex for literally everything. So, thing is this. This is simply a minor symptom of the rot. So let's say today is Saturday, right? You have a talk with a group of ladies at 10 o'clock. Then at 6 o'clock, somebody drops by with a Range Rover. Not necessarily a Nigerian, this side a Kenyan. You
Mhm.
mean utavua? Bado utaokota.
Utashusha nyavu, utashusha
Nyavu
nyavu.
nyavu So it's uh, it's simply a small symptom of a bigger thing.
Yeah.
It's a small symptom of something very big. Because if you say
Yes.
that, what about the Bentens now? You also
Mhm.
have Bentens. And again, if you go at professional level, we have those ladies who are sleeping bosses. I know of somebody was talking of a situation whereby someone went from receptionist to head of department because her qualification was her posterior. When a certain head of department went to another company, instead of vetting among the current top performers in the department, they went and picked the receptionist to head the department. Obviously, this the receptionist was engaging in a lot of bedroom gymnastics to get that position. So this simply, it so happened that these ladies happened to land on the wrong lot. They landed on bunch of murderers. But let's say there was no one killing these women. Could we be having this hula balu? Will we still be talking of Sharif Mustafa Karibu Sana? Uh, if we are not, if we're not for the killings here, would we be having this discussion of, oh, ladies need to work hard? So, do you need to be slaughtered for you to believe that what you are doing is wrong? Or is that what you are trying to say? Do you have to be chopped to pieces so that the moral failure of your behavior comes into play? You are waiting for you to develop malaria instead of buying mosquito nets. You are buying mosquito and you are spraying doom. Na ushashikwa na malaria tayari ndugu yangu.
Put in the cat before the what the horse or what is that of the
The
donkey.
horse has bolted out ndio unafunga mlango ya warehouse. Yeah. So if
No,
were it not
I think
the thing, were it not for the killings, would this lady be saying that these ladies in campus need to work hard? Ask yourself. Will they go
that's
ahead and
true.
say, look,
The
uh,
people,
don't
yes,
go for this thing because it is morally incorrect? Or is it that don't go for these people because they are going to kill you? So we are so low that somebody has to have their intestines ripped out. Ndio tuone hii kitu ni mbaya. What about from the moral standpoint? What about what you call emotional short circuiting? Because when a lady takes that route of sleeping for goodies, sleeping to get money to buy that iPhone, sleeping with someone to get promotion, when you marry that woman and you are driving, let's say Toyota Corolla, and the boss is driving a Prado or a Range Rover, sitari ushaanza kuwekwa kwa ratili, you are put on a scale. Then you start being told, like the goat Andrew Kibe says, that every weekend your wife is on a retreat. Diani, Mombasa, Naivasha, performing bedroom gymnastics in the name of team building another team there. So why are we that now that somebody has been slaughtered, it becomes a hula baloo? So if there was no slaughtering, it would have been business as usual. Cindy, you see
yeah,
how
that's
do you know how do you see how hypocritical it looks?
it is. It
Eh,
is. I
wewe
mean,
yani una
it's good
condemn,
you've brought it down to that level.
as in, as I was saying, una condemn umalaya because malaya wanachinjwa. But if the whores are not getting so, please hoe away, panua miguu, donkey style, kifo cha mende, and whatever techniques you have available. So it's just hypocritical, just hypocrite. It's like the way we
Yeah.
normally, those they call it in Swahili, you call it ngangari, but those crackdown on motor vehicles, the crackdown
Mm.
happens after a vehicle has crashed and killed people. Then you see crackdown, inspection. It's a very something. And I find it so hypocritical. So if no one had killed these women, it would have been kawaida. Bonda songa mbele. Next. And this is why I call this simply just another matrix. It's only that the matrix went a bit off the rails kidogo. And they're trying to cover it with the story, femicide, whatever side they want to call it. It's just another matrix to deviate us from, just put us out of our train of thoughts. How come there's no campaign of saying no to hookup culture? You finish Form
Exactly.
4, your
That's
parents,
it.
family sit down together and get you a responsible husband. No to hookup culture.
Yeah.
Because if there's no hookup culture, who would kill you?
That's it. That's
Mm,
it. You've hit the nail on the head because I think what you're bringing to the fore is really questioning our values
mm,
as a society. Because yes, if there was not this repercussion of death, then there would have been willy nilly having this hookup everywhere and anywhere
mm,
because there's no repercussion. But
mm,
now they can see dead in their eyes that
mm.
this leads to death. This leads to, single motherhood. This leads to the depravity we are seeing in crime and all this because um, this is where all these things emanate from. You know, we can look at it. Um, oh, I've now even lost my train of thought. But these are the questions we need to ask ourselves as a society because um, what we are seeing are just
Yeah.
symptoms of a bigger problem that will not be solved by just having those people marching on the streets with placards saying they hate men, that death to men. But
No problem.
you know,
You are free
will
to.
that
You are free
will that
to.
solve, will that solve the problem or not?
Problem. You are free to hate men. You are free to hate me. You can say death to me. Come try kill me. I wish you all the best in your attempt to kill me. That's a very risky affair for you. Kuja ujaribu. But what you are saying is this: when you say no to femicide and what not, uh, have you? What about no to the circumstances leading to femicide? Are you saying that let us hook up in peace? Tufanye umalaya kwa amani? Ama what are you trying to, what is the message you are sending here?
Mm, mm,
If it was men gathering sharp objects and invading women in their houses, now that will be a crisis.
mm.
Men coming up with knives and sharp and blunt objects, waylaying women on their way to the marketplace and slaughtering them. Now we have a problem. Like today, 20 women killed on their way to the marketplace. 15 women, nursing mothers slaughtered at Pumwani. Now that we have a problem, a serious one for that matter. But one, two women who lost their lives in the line of selling their flesh. Ai, hapana bwana. Kama ni
Line
hivyo
of
basi
duty.
pia also let's have demos for police officers who have lost their lives in the line of duty. Our KDF officers losing their lives defending their country. Our drivers getting slaughtered in Sudan. Hiyo pia iangaliwe. But if wewe unaweka kipaumbele to In fact, some of them, like the latest one, this is someone who left the safety of her house, cheated her parents that she's going to meet a friend or to a party
Yeah.
in the guise of a flesh peddling venture. Can you imagine that?
Mm,
Hmm.
yeah.
Hmm.
And you're shocked to realize that even some of these women, it's not that they come from very poor background.
They left
These
her
are
home.
middle class.
She lives in Syokimau.
Yeah.
She left her house in Syokimau, where that house there was food, there was electricity, there was running water, even a TV, probably even there was Wi-Fi there, which she was using to communicate with this guy. You left all that.
Middle
And
class.
apart
Middle
from
class.
that, you cheat your guardians that you are going to see a friend or a sleepover or whatnot, only that you are going to engage in a flesh peddling venture, which went sideways. Unataka
Mm,
tukuonea huruma jamani? How? It's like you leaving your house telling your family, unaenda round, kumbe you are going to commit a robbery. Then you got shot down by police. Hao pia tuwaonee huruma. Because both of them are illegal activity, a robber and a prostitute. In fact, most
mm.
time prostitutes normally assist robbers in hiding weapons and also tipping them off in some category. So
That's
what
true.
all these crocodile tears and whatnot?
The
Just
light
because,
of the street.
yeah. So this is what I call one of the defining characteristic of the matrix, like a magic trick. Something is done in front of your eyes, very loud, lot of smoke, mirrors, bells, and whistles, and is taking you from the main agenda. What is your main agenda for
Yeah.
Kenya? Dollar consumption.
Yeah.
Hiyo tu. Our biggest, in fact, corruption is okay. Every country is corrupt. Hiyo iko. You don't, in fact, hii ati fighting corruption, hiyo pia is another matrix. Hiyo ni kudanganyana tu. You're not perfect. You
I
go to
mean, even
China.
the just think of even this corruption and where they apply in their most effort is catching these small peddlers, people. And this is not to say that any kind of corruption is to be tolerated, but to what level will it have marginal change? I mean, we just had that gas explosion in
Hmm.
Embakasi.
Yeah.
I've not heard of, you know, an arrest of the owner. I heard that the security guy was the one who was arrested. I mean, this guy
Askari.
was doing his job.
But
Askari,
what do you want
bro.
him to do? The watchman he works for the company which is contracted to look after that place. What do you want
Exactly.
him to do? Hmm? Unataka afanye, because his payslip doesn't read that gas company. His payslips reads the name of the security company.
Yeah.
Hmm. So
And
all
it's,
this,
I mean, it's quite because, we've had all those things of buildings collapsing because of, again, the people that should be upholding building code standards are not doing their job. They get bribed by the owners of those projects.
yes. Hmm.
You've got these people building gas plants within a residential area,
And
and
he
I
gets
saw
a
there was even that a CS shot today. He shared a picture or a video of one that is close to a police station somewhere. I think is it Thika or somewhere. And this is a CS who has access probably to the very most top security apparatus in the world, in Kenya rather. Um, he can easily make a call and have them. He is reporting it on Twitter just like everyone else. Is
he's
it
joining
just
us
some
on the ground.
Yeah, is it some PR effort he's trying to do to absolve himself from the blame, uh, which is essentially, in a sense, caused by his own government that he works for?
If he's
Um,
serious, he can make those phone calls. If he fails, he can resign. He said, I cannot be part of these shenanigans. And
exactly.
put in public a very clear letter determining his resignation letter showing why he has resigned. He's resigned because company A, B, C, D has been caught flouting regulation. He has raised the issue to A, B, C, D, to so and so quarters, is not been getting the appropriate feedback. He has even been threatened, and therefore he cannot continue drawing a salary under such kind of. Now we'll appreciate kweli huyu jamaa amejaribu, lakini when you go to Twitter you are just yani umekuwa kama like normal mtu wa kulalamika barabarani.
You're responsible. Actually, then this is the CS Moses. What's his name? Moses who?
Kuria.
He's sort of in charge. Moses Kuria, who is in charge of. Is he not in a position who monitors performance amongst CSs? So should be talking to the CS whose docket is affected by that. I mean, this particular gas plant that exploded apparently was rejected 3 times. 3 times. Somebody is really sleeping on the job. Somebody has already been corrupted to allow this level of mediocrity and carelessness that led to the death of 3 people and hundreds of others that were injured. Property, that was damaged. I mean, the scale of this is so high, and somebody really needs to pay for this, and he needs to pay for it heavily, such that it's a lesson to him and others. Iwe funzo kwa wao na wengine wote. And every day I keep seeing building A or B has collapsed. I mean, I'm wondering.
The question at hand is this. How many people are serving jail terms of 20 years and above because of such kind of shenanigans? Nothing.
Even a lifetime sentence, because you've caused a death of a human being, literally, a death of a human being, and several lively. I mean, it was even another shameful thing hearing the government spokesman saying, calling on Kenyans to help contribute towards those that were affected.
So after we want to contribute on housing levy plus the taxes, tena mnatoa ingine. What are the current taxes doing? Gas explosion tax. It looks abnormal. You see, yes, I stick by my statement. Corruption is there all over the world, but there's corruption, then there's reckless behavior.
Oh yes,
this is beyond corruption. This is just recklessness. For example, you can be in a bus. I'm a police officer. I stop you, the driver, and I realize that you have no seat belt. That is corruption. But if a bus that is supposed to be carrying 44 people is carrying 87 people, and I wave it through, that is not corrupt. That is recklessness
of the highest order. And in fact, I'm sure there must be categories or thresholds
to this thing, because
this leads to life or death scenario, man. Needs to be.
The case happened in their situation where police officers have actually stepped up. It was somewhere along Busia. Someone was riding a boda. He's carrying a passenger. The boda in front of him has like 2 sacks of cement, and the guy behind him is struggling, I think, a couple of goats. And then behind the kuna boda imefungwa vitu vingi. The police first stopped and said, listen, even if you give me 10,000, I cannot accept this. This is madness. The only way forward, offload everything, call another boda mganye cargo. This is not even a traffic offense. This is madness. Another case, back in the 90s, a bus was stopped on the highway. It was found that the insurance was expiring past midnight, and it's past midnight. And the officer asked, listen, I'm in charge of this roadblock. If this bus, I wave it through, you give me some money, I wave it through, iende yanguke, ipatikane insurance imeisha. Then they ask, because this is an official roadblock. This is not some ad hoc thing. This is an official roadblock that is in the police records. They'll ask, which roadblock did this vehicle pass? I'll be on the chopping block.
Yeah.
Eh. This one, no matter how much money you are giving me, I'll end up in prison. So what happened? The vehicle was put aside. They told the company, get another
Pay right
vehicle,
now.
either get another vehicle or tell your office to quickly make payments for renew the policy. Come back, bandika hapo, then you can drive off. Otherwise, hii gari
And
haiendi.
really, I need to Andika, bro. I mean, I remember I had this scenario once time. I think I was driving to go see my folks from
Mm,
Nairobi to Machakos.
mm,
And I remember when I was midway on the journey,
mm,
just remember this is more or less the time that I typically get or I renew my annual car license or
mm,
rather car insurance.
mm,
And for some reason, I hadn't gotten notifications because sometimes I do get notifications from
mm,
the broker,
mm,
but this time I didn't see any. I remember what I did is I stopped on the
mm,
side of the road,
mm.
called the agent, immediately sent them money via M-Pesa, uh, and she sent me a copy of the insurance on WhatsApp. So I don't necessarily need the sticker. I mean, the sticker there. Actually, I think it's probably like a Kenyan thing. You come to realize even in some places, people don't stick those things on their windscreens. Um, because you can
I
have
think
even
there's a
sometimes
law about displaying it. There's a law of display. I think in
there's a law,
Kenyan
eh?
law, there's a law about displaying it. Yeah.
Actually, you might be right.
Mm,
Yeah, you might be right. I think there's a
there's
law
a law
around
about
it.
displaying.
But I think the law in and of itself is
But you
non
see,
sort of moot when you
there's
talk
what we
about
call,
it. Mm,
the law is our servant. We are not, we are not slaves to the law. We are masters
mhm.
of the law. So if you are flagged
Yeah,
down by the police officer, you can just tell him, I just renewed it. I'm just due for, it's just ready for printing and sticking. Any reasonable police officer will waive you to say, okay, hakikisha ukifika pale umeenda umeprint na umestick hiyo kitu,
yeah.
because the vehicle is
Even
insured.
I think there's also a law around driver's license, but I think
Mm,
it also says if for some reason you're found without one,
mm,
you're required to show proof of it within 48 hours at a
yeah,
nearest police station.
mm,
Because let's say for example you've got multiple cars, maybe you leave it in one car and you
mm,
don't necessarily have it on your person
mm,
such that you can show it. I mean, now I think it's possible now that they give us the cards, but before it
mm.
used to be that small
Reddish thing.
booklet.
Mm,
Yeah, that really, so it gets harder to carry around.
mm,
um so yes, so my plan was at least have a copy of it on, and then she was immediately gonna send it to my office the
mm,
following day. So that would have definitely, as you say, would have sufficed, because I ideally, even without sticking it, if a case were to happen
mm,
where the insurance would be required, it will still be able to come through to
mm,
remedy that. Let's say I've had an accident, somebody probably rear-ended me or I rear-ended someone, then the insurance will be able to cover that kind of a case, um, because for all intents and purposes the car is definitely insured. What was
insured is
remaining
insured.
was to show
Mm,
of display. And I guess even some of these laws were in place because of probably lack of certain technological capabilities
yeah,
as
by the
well.
time these laws were being drawn up, there was no WhatsApp,
Yes,
there was
there's no
no
WhatsApp. I think now you could even
messenger.
tie it with your number plate, and all these things can be done. Such that even if the police was to query,
Mm,
they can query the number plate of the car, and boom, it would show
mm,
that it's valid. So yeah, I
mm,
hear what you say. Yeah, definitely. I do remember there's definitely a law on display, and I guess that's why we have to stick it to
mm,
still maintain some of these archaic ways of doing things,
mm,
and show it. Um, yeah. And I was even talking to another friend of mine, and for us, the way we find it so hard to drive a car without insurance. Apparently, in SA, people drive cars without insurance.
Why?
I don't know. It's like a culture that
Because
this guy was telling.
there's the aspect of third party, which is the one that is the compulsory, so that when your vehicle causes damage, that one takes care. That's very important because this
Hundred.
is this
Once
is
they drive with no insurance.
this
I
is
mean,
not.
I understand by law it is supposed people should do it,
Mm,
but it seems on the enforcement side
mm,
it falls on the wayside because and I guess that's why a number of people don't adhere to that law,
mm,
and it has developed a culture where people are completely disregarding it. So if you get an accident, then it means you have to pay out of pocket.
yeah,
Um, so yes, I mean for Kenya, I know. I mean, I do know people sometimes flaunt the rule, but I mean, I can't imagine getting a car out on the road without that. I'd rather leave it in the house until I get a license because
you don't know what
what
mishap is waiting for you out there.
exactly,
Mm,
exactly. I mean, because those are sort of the mandatory insurance things that people have to take. But my friend was telling me, and I found it so weird. For a country like South Africa, which is if you're talking of insurance, is one of the highest in Africa. They have adopted insurance. For Kenya, we understand we are still around 4%. Insurance is still like a luxury for the rich.
mm.
The way people insure their homes, insure their whatever. Very people do that. Yeah. Anyway, I can see we are now at 8 minutes to past
The
an
hour.
hour.
So
Yeah, man.
1 hour of unrehearsed, going hard, and we've done episode number 53, going to 54. Gratitude to Lotu family and our usual lone wolf, Sharif Mustafa. Asante sana for being with us. We were discussing why we are making a lot of noise about prostitutes being slaughtered and not saying anything about the vice of prostitution itself. So that is how the matrix works for you. It's like saying, why are thieves getting lynched? And you're not saying, stop stealing. Mm.
Yep.
So, mm. Anyway, unless
Actually, that was
Mr.
actually a very good discussion to talk about crime um, in our next talk because I had some thoughts around it, particularly looking at places like the UAE and others in comparison to why do they have low crime rates? There's something
Okay,
they're doing, and it, so that shows to me it's a very solvable problem
yes,
because
very.
they can solve in the UAE, it can be solved anywhere. Just adopt the similar system that what they have done. But we can discuss that in more details in the next edition of Free Flowing Saturdays. And thanks
So,
once again, as you said, to our audience out there. I saw at least we had about up to 5 viewers today.
all
That's
right.
probably one of our live viewers.
So, with that, can I say adios? Adios.
See ya.